in all states.
I spend a lot of time in the garage, but even more time in the rain, sleet, and mud. In 95, I helped tow your moving trailer. In 05, I helped you get out of a ditch. Yeah, I know I'm a bit rusty, and sadly in 09, it was sparks from me. Your handy chains dragging behind your truck that accidentally started a wildfire.
Sparks from dragging chains can start a wildfire. Spark a change, not a wildfire. Visit SmokeyBear.com. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
You took the first step and quit smoking, but even former smokers may still be at risk for lung cancer. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know about a new low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early. It takes only 60 seconds and could save your life. You took the first step, now take the next. Visit SaveByTheScan.org for a simple quiz to see if you're eligible and talk to your doctor about screening. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WVLQ Port St. Joe, the Sports Talk Monster. ESPN Northwest Florida. It's the next evolution of Sports Talk Radio. The biggest stories and the biggest reactions.
Now.
And now, we're taking...
With the first pick.
It's the last ball you got in the bag.
The Inside Drive. From college to the pros. Interviews with the newsmakers, sports betting, your phone calls, and more. And The Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey. Broadcasting from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios on ESPN Northwest Florida.
And good Tuesday morning here in the Florida Panhandle. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. As always, you can listen to us live and local on 104.3 in Panama City Beach, 101.9 in Port St. Joe. Watch us on Facebook or listen and X as well as YouTube. Just search ESPN Northwest Florida. You can also download our free mobile app inside the Google Play or Apple Store. That one you do need to search 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. I'd be remiss if I didn't start the show today, Jay, with all of our thoughts and prayers with the crazy tornadoes that went through on the curve, Thomas Drive, all the way through. Just some, I think it's going to end up being a pretty good-sized tornado that went through at the wee hours of this morning. And kudos to all the meteorologists that were live this morning, tracking that, giving people updates, letting them know to seek shelter, all that stuff. I just really hope all the people along that stretch made it out safe, because looking at the damage and some drone footage this morning, that was some wild stuff, that's for sure. So serious thoughts and prayers for all the people affected by that tornado that went through this morning.
Yeah, that's just crazy, man. I was just talking to Randy, on my way in to the studio. It's crazy in the times that we're living in, because I don't remember tornadoes coming through at 5, 6 in the morning back 30 years ago. It just never happened. And yeah, it's just weird, man. Very weird.
Yeah, those night tornadoes no tornado is good, but a tornado at night is certainly a scary thing. And that's, we deal with hurricanes during hurricane season, but tornadoes are prevalent in the winter because you have such fluctuation between hot and cold temperatures, and you get these fronts coming through. We've been talking about this front for a week or so. And it actually ended up being some stuff out in front of that squall line that created all this crazy weather this morning. But I think North Star Church, I'm going to try to look it up real quick.
I saw that.
I think North Star Church is collecting supplies and kind of rounding up some people to go in and help with all that situation, because the weather is out of here. We may get a little sprinkles, throughout the rest of the afternoon. But
I know the focus has been on Thomas Drive and kind of in that Treasure, Treasure
Island Marina, Pirates Cove, yep.
But not much has been talked about into the downtown area. Is everything okay over there? Have you heard? Or
I don't want to speak to it too much because I don't have a lot of knowledge, but I haven't really seen anything from out of there. But that doesn't mean anything.
Right.
That doesn't mean anything. But that thing kind of came right through off the Gulf and right onto Thomas Drive. Kind of went down following Thomas Drive to the North Lagoon Bridge, and we all saw kind of what happened. But yes, North Star Church right there at the intersection of St. Andrews and 390 is collecting. They need chainsaws, gloves, tarps, manpower, the roads, the bridges, everything's back open. So if you're looking to help out, or if you need help, reach out to North Star Church and all that good stuff. But,
yes, sir.
Yeah, again, crazy stuff going on, and it's kind of crazy that the national championship happened last night, and then the wee hours of this morning right here in Bay County, some crazy. And I know that front is still continuing east, so thoughts and prayers to everybody to our east that little system is going through. And it's Bay County's strong. It's been strong for a long time. It's been through a lot of different things, and you can replace buildings, but you can't replace people.
That's
so
right.
Let's just hope everybody got out safe and all that good stuff. But yeah, again, North Star Church right there at the intersection of 390 and 23rd Street, making some stuff happen. So
good to see Michigan Eddie made it into the stadium last night.
All 5 people got into the stadium.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's
all
good.
5 got, and I think he had like some seating with some food and that kind. I saw in his live videos that he was there with his wife Deanna.
Yeah,
and I don't know where his kids were in the stadium.
I don't think he cared.
Yeah, I don't think he cared either. I mean, how could you care after your team wins the national championship? But yes, he got in, and all is well.
It is.
What are your initial thoughts on that game?
I watched it through halftime, then kind of whatever, but it kind of got sidetracked, just being honest. I don't know, fell asleep for a little bit. I'm an old man.
It was at halftime, it was 2013, something like that?
Yeah.
I know that's as close as it got.
It was
20-13.
Yeah. Penix kind of, to me, looked a little bit, I don't know, he just didn't have his game in the first half, and I guess that contributes to Michigan's defense. Michigan's defense obviously played a good game last night, and does defense win championships? That's what a lot of the SEC schools say, and I think Georgia, was able to do that the last 2 years just because of a strong defense. Yeah. Jordan Davis,
defense makes it a lot easier. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And I was wondering, Michigan, Washington's running back, I forget his first name, but the last name Johnson, kind of went out early in that ball game. His ankle got rolled up on, and he never really seemed right again after that. I don't know if that affected Washington's game plan or whatnot, but much to how Michigan's defense did it against Alabama, they committed to pressuring Penix, and they made him throw the football. And he wasn't as accurate as he had been going. And I don't know if that's nerves. I don't know if it's just a lot less time, whatever it may be. But Michigan had a game plan, and they certainly look good. That's for sure.
Well, you could tell. I felt like Washington was kind of grasping for straws. Now, I haven't watched a lot of Washington football, but their offensive line, before they would hike the ball, there was a lot of movement going on.
Washington has one of the most pre-snap motions of any team in the country.
Okay, so that's been kind of a given all year. Yep. Okay, I got you.
Absolutely.
I was thinking they were trying to throw the book at Michigan, if you will, but. Yeah, great game. Sad to see that college football's went to the wayside for 2023, but we're in a new year.
Yeah, and it's back to be back for 2024 with a 12-team playoff. And
there you go.
Next go around. What do you think about Jim Harbaugh? What do you think happens here on out? He was suspended 6 total games this season, and a lot of people, a lot of the Michigan naysayers are, his title will be vacated, he's going to the NFL. I don't know. What do you think is going to happen?
Where has he been in the NFL before?
Yeah,
that's what I thought.
He was a coach of my San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah,
went to a Super Bowl but lost.
Would he may be one of the only coaches to ever go back to the NFL. It seems like it's a one and done situation. Like Spurrier. There's plenty of guys that's tried that.
There's a lot of guys that were in college that were successful and then go to the NFL and don't have any success and then come back to college.
Straight back, yeah.
Harbaugh's a little different story. I don't know where he was before the Niners because I didn't really follow him before that, but he might be a guy that was NFL and then went to college after NFL.
Gotcha. So he started in the NFL.
I don't know that 100% off the top of my head, but I'm going to roll with that for right now.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I would probably, if I'm Michigan, I would probably want to keep him around. I mean, keep that vibe going up there.
And I think it really depends on what he wants to do, right? That was their first national championship since 1997 and their first non-split national championship, because that one in 97 was a split national championship there in the BCS. It was also Harbaugh's first title as a coach at any level, so he's checked that off the box. But
how do you become a co-champion? Like, how does that happen?
The BCS, the way the rankings were and all that stuff, like you'd have the BCS national championship game, but then the other games that you might end up having two teams that are undefeated with the same BCS points.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that there's been a couple of those co-champion kind of things.
I know Georgia Tech was in 90 or 91.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Yep. Yeah. That does not happen anymore because it is a playoff for sure.
Yeah.
Just got North Star Church. Some people are mentioning that too. They have a link for local volunteers. That's both the church on the beach as well as the one right there that we mentioned before. A couple people commented on a post that I had put out there on Facebook. But yeah, I mean, last year he was really testing the waters, thinking about going to the NFL. Minnesota Vikings were a team that he was looking at, and they never offered him anything. So he comes back to Michigan. Obviously, he faced a self-imposed Michigan suspension both times. One for some stuff during the COVID year, talking to recruits when he shouldn't have been or something like that. It's all just a bunch of nonsense. But yeah, a lot of people think he's going back to the NFL. He got his title there at Michigan, got his college title, and now he wants to go win a Super Bowl.
Wouldn't you think, though, yesterday being Black Monday, there would be more, kind of bouncing around? I haven't heard much. Have you?
No, they're really, other than, Ron Rivera and the ones we talked about yesterday, the GM for the Panthers being let go as well. But yeah, still nothing on Bill Belichick. Nothing on Bill Belichick yet, but some potential landing spots for the Harbaugh situation. A lot of people are talking about, Washington Commanders. They just let Rivera go. Los Angeles Chargers, they fired, I forget his name, Staley, not too long ago. Chicago, if they move on from Eberflus. But also the Las Vegas Raiders have a mutual interest with him, and, the Raiders and Harbaugh have some interest there in going to the Raiders, which would be a, interesting landing spot there for Jim. I think David agrees with me on that one as well, that their current head coach should get the gig.
Yeah.
But I think there's something in like the contracts or the process or all that they have to do, that they have to open up those jobs for interviews in other places.
What did Harbaugh bring to your 49ers back in the day? Is he kind of an
physicality? Physicality. All his teams have always been really physical. But
Gotcha.
he was quarterback for Michigan, so he's got a good offensive mind. But yeah, he builds tough teams. It's kind of the same thing his brother does. He's been the coach of the Baltimore Ravens for a long time now and won a Super Bowl. But they're known for tough physical defenses.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so I don't know what's going to happen. David, you want to answer a question? Okay, we're good. Jay, keep going on it. Keep going on it.
Oh, man. Let's see. Michigan 34, Washington 13.
They almost covered the in-game line on the over.
Yeah.
Because I parlayed Washington money line with the under. The under, I think, still hit, but Michigan just took care of business. I think the one big play that kind of changed things, what do you look at?
No, it's just Vegas. I had did a 2-game parlay with Michigan winning, 5.5, right?
Yeah.
But I took the total points at 49.5, and it's sitting right there at what, 40? Is my math right? 47.
Yeah.
Yeah.
34,
isn't that that's just so crazy, man. It is crazy.
It is wild. That is for sure. Some early odds for your 2025 national championship. Who do you think's got the best odds right now?
Oh, Alabama.
You should know.
Georgia. Mm-hmm. Really?
Georgia currently is plus 450. Alabama's plus 600. Ohio State, who looks like they're going to land Quinshon Judkins in that particular one, is looks like they're going to land him as a running back. So they're bolstering up for next year. Texas plus 900, Michigan plus 1,000 to repeat as national champion. Oregon at plus 1,100, LSU at plus 1,400. Then the Ole Miss Rebels coming in at number 8 at plus 1,600. Then Florida State, Clemson, Penn State, Notre Dame What do you think? Who gets it done next year?
So those bets came live at like midnight last night for next year?
Pretty much as soon as the game was over.
Okay.
I'm sure that's how it all works.
Man, there's way too much stuff can happen in a year's time.
Man. But yeah, and those obviously fluctuate, and they could change drastically. But that's where you want to get in on, like, if you think a team has got a little higher odds, can make a shot at it. That's where you could get a Clemson at plus 2,000 or plus 2,000. Get an Ole Miss at plus 1,600. I mean, that's 16-1. Not bad odds there. So
there you go.
Future bets are something you put away and you wait a little while before it comes out. But
well, you got 12 teams this year that have a chance at actually coming through. So I think your odds are better.
I mean, you still got to win.
Yeah,
but there's triple the amount of teams in the playoffs versus the last 10 years it's been around. The college football playoffs been around for 10 years. But the rushing ability of Michigan, that's just, when you can run the football like that, it's tough to beat. And Donovan Edwards hadn't scored a touchdown in many weeks, and he scored 2, and Blake Corum continued what he was doing, and JJ McCarthy looking to move into the draft now. But crazy stuff.
Well, I know Michigan, obviously, it was a home game for them, it looks like.
It was about 90-10 from what people were saying as far as the fan base there.
If you flip the script, though, on that and you go 90-10 Washington, does that take into account maybe a touchdown? No.
I don't know. It's an interesting question. I just don't know. I don't know how. I don't know if it would, because did Michigan crowd affect Washington?
Right.
Who knows? Or was it just a game plan? Again, I think I think it was 4th and 7 when I think if that was either early in the second half or right before the first half ended, and he threw a pass over there to Adunze and it didn't catch it. It's a little errant pass. I don't know if you remember that one. Adunze kind of got turned around a little bit.
I did. I saw that.
They catch that one.
Yep.
Things might be a little bit different, but that's how it always is. If ifs and buts were candies and nuts, but Maize and Blue looked good.
It was 14-3 at that point, and I think that would have been 14-10.
I don't know if he would have scored a touchdown on that one, but it wouldn't have gave Michigan back the ball. Now they got a 3-and-out stop after that, but they just couldn't move the ball very well on Michigan. And we talked about it yesterday a little bit. Michigan hadn't allowed a team over 24 points all season, and obviously they kept that trend last night. And they didn't allow a team to go over 400 yards either. And I'm gonna look at the box score real quick, Jay, and see. I highly doubt they went over 400 yards yesterday, but let's take a quick look at the box score and see what that total yardage was. Let me get to it real quick. Box score. Team stats, Jay. Team stats. All right. Total yards. Whew. Yeah. Michigan had 443. Washington only had 301.
There you go.
And I think going into that game, they were averaging like 423 and change a game, something like that. But yeah, they really shut down the passing yards there. 4th down efficiency, 2 for 5. That's, they went for it on 4th down 5 times, Washington did. And a lot of that was at the end of the game when they had to. But what's crazy, Michigan won this game going 1 for 10 on 3rd down. But they were always ahead of the sticks because they were able to run the ball well. And how many total yards they have on the ground? Let's see, 303 rushing yards to Washington's 46. I don't care who you are, what team you are. If you're getting outgained rushing, you're going to lose the football game.
That's right.
And again, I don't know how much that injury to Johnson affected their ability to run the ball, but Michigan scored on a couple, when you have 40-yard touchdown runs, I mean, that's the same thing as throwing, a deep pass.
Yeah.
And that ability to do that stuff is pretty wild. But yes, as you mentioned, the college football season is now come to an end. Do have the Senior Bowl coming up, I think the first weekend in February, just down the road over there in Mobile on South Alabama's campus in that new stadium.
Well, there's a lot of fun things coming to University of Michigan in the next 2 weeks. As being a Georgia fan, obviously you get there's parades, there's
there were
the whole
stadium on fire last night.
Oh yeah, there's all kinds of fun stuff going on.
Yeah,
that sounds fun. Lighting up, just firing up couches and stuff.
Hey, it's one way to get rid of a couch, I guess.
Yeah, there you go.
If you don't need it anymore, just gotta be careful. The fumes on the upholstery there could be poisonous.
Could be.
I don't know if it's true or not, but they certainly could be. We got Doc A coming up at 11:20.
That just made my day.
There you go. There you go with the old, what's the name of the car?
The family truckster.
The truckster.
The old truckster.
That thing is fantastic. And then we got Brad Law coming up at 12:20 from the Auburn Sports Radio Network, and anxious to talk to him about some Auburn basketball and see how the transfer portal and recruiting is going as far as football is concerned. I know they didn't have the ending they wanted to have in the bowl season, getting beat there pretty handedly by Maryland. But on the up and up, new season coming up here, and wild card weekend coming up as well. And we'll talk a little bit about some of the statistical leaders in the NFL. Who is the rushing king? Who is the passing yards, touchdowns, all that good stuff. And also, a lot of people are doing these playoff fantasy football leagues now. I've never done one of those before. So let's talk about, get your thoughts on some of the players if you've got early draft picks in your playoff draft, where you should go.
Oh, I can't wait for that one.
Do you take CMC even though he's not playing the first week?
Right.
But if you have him, then you got him for the next week. I don't really know how it all works, but we'll dive into it a little bit more later on. Also want to give a shout out to Ryan. My daughter, no school today. It's her 12th birthday. Obviously a little interesting wake-up call for her on her birthday, but we're going to hopefully do some fun stuff later for her. And I think we're going to try out, we do the hibachi a lot for birthdays, and I'm going to take David's advice and check out the one over there in town. As everybody says, that one's better than the one on the beach.
There you go.
We're going to find out.
There's a guy who does hibachi and comes to your house, right?
Yeah.
Have you guys done that one?
Haven't done that.
Haven't done that
It
one?
looks like a good time.
That does, yeah.
It does. It looks cool.
It's always, I tried it at home, and it's never the same as the restaurant.
You can't replicate that.
You can't.
They got some kind of special in there that makes it a little bit different.
I think it's the way they toss that egg and,
once you throw an egg in a hat,
oh, yeah,
it pretty much changes the way everything tastes.
That's right.
Factual information there.
Yes, sir.
For sure. But yeah, Doc A coming up at the top of the hour, the next break.
Yes, sir.
Hopefully we'll get another Birdies and Beers promo somewhere down the line. I know a lot of people have been, Liam just randomly walked through the house last night. He's like, Birdies and Beer. So it's stuck. You've done a fantastic job.
Good.
But yeah, when we get back, we'll be joined by Steve Alexander, Doc A. Maybe he's got a wild story or two for us on the Inside Drive today. Again, North Star Church is collecting supplies and people to help out with the victims of the tornadoes that went through this morning. And again, thoughts and prayers with them. When we get back, we'll be joined by Doc A. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Florida is taking it to the hole. Your home for the most live college basketball in the Gulf Coast. The ACC, SEC, and the biggest games in the country. Plus the official station of March Madness.
The Panhandle's destination for live play-by-play.
Hear every slam dunk in ultra-high fidelity right here.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good morning. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with your weather forecast on this Tuesday. A mixture of light showers and partly cloudy skies this afternoon and evening with a very strong breeze coming out of the west-southwest around 28 miles per hour and temps near 60. We will have mostly clear skies tonight and be cool at 44. And partly sunny tomorrow and a high 54. Mostly clouds Thursday with a temp of 62. This forecast is brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for keeping that dial at ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Take your next adventure in an award-winning Kia from Bill Bird Kia. We invite you to stop by Bill Bird Kia today and test drive a new 2024 Kia. You'll see why everyone is talking about Kia. The 2024 Kia will give you the perfect balance of comfort, safety, and technology. The SUV family has movement that inspires. Drive away today in a new 2024 Kia Soul, Seltos, Sportage, Sorento, or Telluride. Fuel the thrill and command the road in a luxury sedan from Bill Bird Kia. Drive away today in a new 2024 Kia K5. Performance, power, and design built just for you. Discover the new Kia at Bill Bird Kia. Bill Bird Kia, the original home of the 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Stop by 2435 East 15th Street, Panama City, or anytime at BillBirdKiaPanamaCity.com. We'll treat you just like family and give you the peace of mind you can trust. Your local community dealer is Bill Bird Kia.
The 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty is a Bill Bird Kia warranty.
The only place to get sports betting coverage on the radio. Is this legal? Broadcasting from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios. It's the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey on ESPN Northwest Florida.
listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. So far, no Doc A we've been able to get on the line, but that's okay, Jay. That rhymes with Doc A. Did you see that? See how that went there? I want to talk a little bit more about, Tiger Woods. We didn't really dive into it yesterday because we were talking a lot of NFL and national championship, but he parted ways with Nike yesterday after a 27-year relationship. Again, that started when he was 20 years old, and be interesting to see which direction he goes now. But that led me to some of the largest endorsement deals in sports history. Obviously, Tiger Woods was up there. It's not a specific value, but somewhere around $1.5 billion is what everybody was kind of saying that was worth. I might have had a statistic here. Yep, it was a 27-year partnership. It was $500 million guaranteed in payments. It generated billions in sales for Nike, and obviously it was one of the most lucrative endorsement deals out there in the history of sports. Some other ones, Jay. Steph Curry, well, obviously he's the point guard there for the Golden State Warriors, 4-time NBA champion, something like that. Started back in 2013 with Under Armour. It's a lifetime deal expected to exceed $1 billion.
Yikes.
A lot of cash money there.
I was thinking about that as far as why, and this is a question I want to ask you and get your thoughts on, but why is it that, so Nike 27 years ago said, hey, Tiger Woods, we love you, we want to, take care of you, endorse, whatever you call it.
Yeah.
And then they get, they start getting into golf balls. They start getting into golf clubs. And Nike, to me, started out as a shoe company.
Yeah.
Is that
company, yeah.
Yeah.
Shoes, apparel, yep.
Why is it, and everybody thought that, Tiger Woods parted the waters, if you will, back in 2001. Why is it those clubs never made it big back in the day?
That's a great question, and I'll give my opinion, but it's just an opinion. I think it's because the golf hard goods market is such a hard market to enter, because you've had Titleist for so long, and even at that point, TaylorMade really got rocking and rolling. You had the kind of the big, it's kind of like these huge TV companies, right? You can't, like the CW trying to do live, like they're not going to get that to stick.
Right.
And I just it's just so hard to get into the hard goods side, and it's. We always talk about it all the time, but, from a wholesaler standpoint, there's not a lot of margin for wherever it lands. It's a green grass shop, if it's just a regular golf shop, if they're selling direct to consumer online, there's just not a ton of money to be made. So in order to get, all these businesses to sell your clubs, as you being the wholesaler, it's a big risk for them.
Yeah.
They eat up a lot of space in their inventory and all that stuff. But I think it just goes back to, it's such a hard market to enter. Like if somebody wanted to create a new golf ball,
right,
it's almost impossible.
Yeah.
I know Vice has tried to do it, but I think they're sputtering out a little bit. But you'll never ever, TaylorMade's got some serious market share over the years in the golf balls, but Titleist Pro V1 still dominates the market. But you're seeing a lot more advertising from TaylorMade and Callaway. They're trying to, the only way they're going to get more balls in people's hands are getting that commercial put out there. The reason why. Now TaylorMade's got a lot of really cool golf balls coming out this year, a lot of different color patterns, and they're never going to, the white golf ball market is dominated by the Titleist Pro V1. But they've done some research, and there's some other avenues with these different, you're seeing a lot more different, the traditional just white golf ball isn't the only golf ball for sale anymore.
Right.
You're seeing a lot more traction for a lot of this other stuff. But on the club side of things, I had a Nike driver at one point, and it was a great driver. I think David Hayes has got the old Sasquatch still. And, they're great clubs, but it's hard from a standpoint of competing with the big brands that were already in play and had been in play for a long time. That's my really long answer to why I think. Why do you think?
Well, I don't know. So I guess the moral of the story would be, obviously Nike is very good in the shoe department. Is the moral of the story stick with what you're good at and try to stay away from all that other stuff, or do you try? Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to figure it all out. I think we've come to determination that Titleist is the ball market, if you will, for golf.
Oh yeah,
Nike is shoes.
Yep.
As we kind of break down these different manufacturers, like who would be your club? You know, would TaylorMade be more of your club? Where would TaylorMade fit into that situation?
I think TaylorMade has emerged over the last 20 years as your driver company.
Yeah.
Now, obviously they make great products across the line. I've been with TaylorMade for almost 20 years. But yeah, they kind of emerged as the driver company. Titleist was always the player's iron. Callaway was kind of somewhere in between both of those. But yeah, you had said something that kind of resonated, and then I was trying to figure it out.
Oh, as far as just finding your niche, and sticking with it, or
yeah. I got it. So I think a lot of people thought Tiger was going to drive a ton of sales to Nike hard goods.
Yeah.
Obviously, he did a ton for apparel. I mean, Nike golf apparel blew up over the years when he kind of came in. But I think Tiger moved the needle more so for golf in general, for people playing golf.
Right.
Is that fair to say?
Yeah, no, it is.
More so than buying a Nike set of irons. You remember the slingshot irons?
I
remember
do.
those bad boys with the big old thing on the back? They're still around.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think again, it's just tough to break into that market.
The product was so bad, if you will, and I hate to say that, but I think at some point Titleist had or Nike had paid Titleist a prototype, with the Nike putter.
Yeah,
and it was actually a Titleist Scotty Cameron putter. So I mean, even Tiger didn't believe in the Nike club.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he was with Nike. He started in '97. How long did he use a non-Nike putter? I think he eventually went to it.
Yeah.
But then he got back away from it.
Yeah.
And I don't.
But I'm saying that Nike putter that he used was a prototype.
Yeah. And it just had the swoosh on it.
Yeah.
Same thing. Yeah. But hey, you put that swoosh on it instead of those 3 red circles. That may change things.
That's it.
That may change things. But yeah, it's a good question. Why and I think too, they got hurt by the downturn in golf a little bit, and they couldn't sustain anymore. How long has it been since they stopped manufacturing, hard goods on the Nike golf side? 10 years?
Probably.
Yeah, I think it was before I came down here.
Yeah.
So that's more.
Their wedges look good, though, I thought.
Got a call on the line? Who we got out there? Oh, Doc A. Hey. Doc A, the basketball. Thank you, David. That's what keyed it for me. Doc, how we doing today?
I'm good. I didn't see the phone ring.
Or hear the phone ring.
Well, my phone never actually rings.
Does anybody's ring nowadays? People.
Jay's
does. Yeah, that's true, David. That's true.
I've got 100% silence going on. There's no vibrating. There's no buzzing. And it cost me today because I missed your all's phone call. So
that's okay. We got you on now, and we were just talking about. Jay asked a very interesting question about why Nike Golf, the hard goods side, did not succeed despite. It all started with the conversation that Tiger, just ended his 27-year relationship with Nike and how much he made. And then we were talking about Steph Curry obviously having one of the larger ones out there, a lifetime deal with Under Armour worth over $1 billion. Eventually it'll exceed that. But, he was kind of asking me why Nike Golf, hard goods, golf balls, clubs didn't stick and take off. And I just think it's just golf hard goods is such a hard market to get into if you hadn't been doing it for a long time.
Yeah, I'm not an expert in that field, clearly, but I mean, it was a long run.
Yeah, 27 years. Tiger. Yeah, pretty impressive.
That's a long run. It's going to be weird seeing him wear something other than Nike.
Yeah, it's going to be extremely weird. I think there's probably some odds out there that you can take bets on which company he's going to go with next. And I still think, I said yesterday, there's a company called Grayson Apparel. It's a high-end kind of, lifestyle brand. But the only reason I say that is because in that father-son PNC event, his son was head-to-toe Grayson. Justin Thomas is also sponsored by Grayson after that falling out with Ralph Lauren. So we'll see where he goes. But I agree with you completely. It's going to be weird not seeing that swoosh on his left chest.
Hey, look, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, Doc A. However, I was watching the 2019 Masters highlights yesterday. That's what I do in my free time. And I did see...
Instead of watching any topical sport that we would talk about on the show.
However, I did see that 5 of the 6 guys leading the tournament going into Sunday in the 2019 Masters, when Tiger won it, they all dumped it in the water on 12. I started thinking, I'm like, this could be some sort of conspiracy theory.
Billy Payne's like, hey, everybody's got to hit it in the water on Golden Bell on number 12. Tiger's got to win this thing. We need the ratings. Hey, You really don't know in this day and age.
This is true.
Golf conspiracy theories. I like that. We can start a podcast on that. We'll lead with that one.
There you go.
Keith will be upset because then I'm going to say that Tiger won in 2019 based on a conspiracy theory.
I mean, it would be one of the easier sports to kind of rig, if you will.
Oh, yeah. Because golf is so hard. Yeah, you could make it look like you're trying to hit a good... I mean, I do that every day when I play golf. I make it look like I'm trying to hit a good shot, but then a really bad one happens.
That's right.
I don't know why.
I know there's a thing out there in Golf Digest, like 10 signs that the guy you're playing with is a sandbagger. And, like, I fit the description, like, 8 of the 10 things. Like, doesn't really warm up, misses 3-foot putts, drinks a lot of beer while he's playing and falls apart at the end. I'm like, dude, I fit that whole article perfectly. And my buddy's like, yeah, dude, but everybody knows you're not sandbagging. They just know you're not good. You're not good.
You're the non-sandbagging sandbagger. Yes, I just pulled up that article you were mentioning. Doesn't warm up, tanks, meaning if the casual round of golf is bad, the sandbagger will make sure to take it from bad to worse to make sure the rough day doesn't go to waste. Wrong club, gags closing in, gets drunk at the end, and a few other things there. But yeah, interesting topic there, sandbagging. That's a real thing in golf.
That right.
Real thing in golf. You got to be careful those member guest handicaps.
Oh, dude, we've got... I mean, every club has them. I mean, every club has them, and every player at that club knows exactly who they are. And some of them, some sandbaggers take it a little further than others. Like, not only do they miscount their strokes, but then they write down their score wrong at the end, and then they somehow fail to record the right score when they entered in the gym system. So, yeah, it's an art form.
It is. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And that's why, especially at private clubs, your handicap committees are so important. When I was a intern up at a little high-end private club up there in New Jersey, it was my job to put the letters in people's lockers if they didn't post their score within 24 hours. Yeah, I was the handicap police. But
that sounds like the handicap police.
Yeah,
that's a hard-nosed job right there. I'm telling you.
But I also got to run all the bets to the Monmouth Park there, where all the horse races were, because the shoe guy knew all the things about the horses. So I'd collect all the members' bets. I'd go to the track in the afternoon, sit there, place all the bets, hang out, maybe have a couple beverages. I don't know, and then come back the next day if they won or if they didn't win. So you take the good with the bad.
Speaking of the inner workings of golf courses. I went over and talked to my boys where I'm a starter and I'm a ranger, and I just wanted to make sure that they knew I wanted to come back this summer because I'm not going to have any actual work to do where I get paid because when the basketball season ends, the Dr. A season kind of ends. So I took my son with me. He's 16. The driver.
Yes.
Heard about
the cones. Yes.
We're driving over there. I said, all right, dude, we're going to go talk to the pro. It's time now that if you want to work in the cart barn over there and play free golf, now's the time to get your foot in the door and let them know you want to do it. Don't say anything stupid. So we get in the clubhouse, and the pro is talking to my son. He's like, what are you doing, buddy? He's like, I need an application for the cart barn. And he's like, oh, okay, cool. He's like, so you want to work in the cart barn? He goes, no, but my dad's making me do this.
You're hired.
And I'm like, really? Really, dude? That's what we're doing? And so, yeah. So I probably won't be working with my son this summer.
Interesting.
That is interesting.
Interesting indeed. Yeah, the inner workings. That is I was a cart guy when I was a kid. I'm sure you were a cart guy when you were a kid, Jay. It's kind of the rite of passage if you kind of get into the golf business and stay into the golf business. The
stories that I have.
Oh gosh, I got stories for days. A lot of these it's like Caddyshack. Oh, speaking of Caddyshack, what's her name, Jay?
Oh,
in the movie,
Lacey Love.
Yeah,
Lacey
she passed
Underwood.
away. She passed away at the age of 69.
I was born to love you.
I was born to lick your face.
That's right.
Oh, man, what a good one. What a good one. That is for sure.
She wore that Fila shirt that you could see right through it in that movie, and it was like, I remember being a kid. Like, I like this movie a lot.
Yeah, the kids these days have no idea about those movies. It's times have changed, that's for sure.
Yes, it has.
How about the reverse?
Kenny.
Yeah, yes. How about the reverse sandbagging, right? When people have egos and they post lower scores than they shoot, and then they play in a competition and get the brakes beat off of them.
Yeah, they do.
I don't understand that one either.
I don't either.
I don't know. People have egos, I guess.
Yep.
My wife and I played in a bowling league like 25 years ago. And we show up on the first night, and of course the first night at the bowling league is when you set your handicap. And she's like, hey, I'll say DA. She's like, hey, do not play well tonight. Whatever you do. I'm like, dude, I never bowl well. Don't worry about it.
I'll just be myself.
First game, I rolled like a 185, my best game ever. Or no, it was like a 210. And she's like, really? That's what we're doing? So my handicap was so jacked up for the whole year.
Yeah.
And our team we got the brakes beat off of us because I did not sandbag at the right time.
Yeah, that's tough.
What color ball do you use, Doc A? Just curious. Do you have
I've got a black or a blue, a kind of royally cloud blue ball that I've had since then. It's been in the closet for about 15 years.
I got you. 12 pound, 14 pound. What kind of?
I'm surprised he doesn't have the rose in the ball like Big Earn.
Right. Right.
It is a 12-pound ball.
There you go.
It's just like your weight of your driver, right? It's got to be heavy enough you can generate club head speed, but light enough you can keep it going. It's a balance, Jay.
Every time I think of bowling, I always go back to Roseanne and John Goodman and Roseanne. It's like they always hung out there at the bowling alley.
Kind of used to be a big thing.
Yeah. Or I think it still is.
Yeah. Except you can't rip heaters in the bowling alley anymore.
I always go straight to the Big Lebowski.
Yeah, that's
it. Market zero, Donnie.
That's it.
Another good one, man. Well, we only got a couple minutes, Doc. Anything exciting going on in the NBA world? Sorry.
Well, two shocking things happened last night. One, they came out. Tyrese Halliburton went down in the second quarter he did the splits. Didn't look good. His teammates had to carry him off the court. He's the Pacers point guard. Pacers are playing well. He was the number one vote getter in the East to start in the All-Star game. He's having an All-Star season. And now it really looked bad when they carried him all the way in the locker room. Like his teammates were carrying him. He had a towel over his head. They came out today and said it's a hamstring strain. He's going to be reevaluated in a couple weeks. So it sounds like he might only miss a month instead of the whole season. So that's good. That's a good thing because it did not look good. And then out of nowhere last night, Adrian Wojnarowski announced that Ja Morant is done for the season. He's having shoulder surgery.
Saw that, yeah.
And he's done. So, Vince Williams is a guy that people should run out and pick up for Memphis because he's going to get a lot of run. Marcus Smart will be the new point guard. But devastating news for Ja Morant and his fantasy managers.
Man, tough stuff. Wemby had a big night. I don't know when it was. I know he's still under the load management, which he's not super happy about. But played like 26 minutes and had like 27 points and a bunch of blocks and all sorts of crazy stuff. Yeah,
and then Chet had 31 last night. SGA had 30-something, and the Oklahoma City just continue to roll. Like they're so fun to watch, man. But yeah, Wemby and Chet still living up to the hype.
It's good stuff. That's good stuff. Well, Doc, I'm sorry we didn't talk a lot about basketball, but certainly enjoyed the candor and the conversation as always, and hopefully we'll talk to you next Tuesday if that works for you.
Hey, sorry I was late, and good luck to everybody affected by the tornado and the storms. We canceled school today thinking it was going to be windy and stuff, but we got zero wind and just some rain. So my kid had a rain day today.
There you go. For the 9 times they do it and it doesn't do anything crazy, it's the one time that it does that matters. That's for sure. We appreciate you, Doc A. You take care, and we'll talk to you next week.
All right, we'll see you guys.
All right, you're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Some breaking news on, we'll call it Black Tuesday, I guess. Another head coach has been fired. That is a head coach of an NFL football team, Jay. We'll get to that when we get back.
Yes, sir.
ESPN Northwest Florida. It's the Coach James Hale Show.
Why wasn't that televised? They could have got $400 million worth of money for the commercials.
Good idea.
They did. And
that is
the camera
a very
right
good
on them
idea.
because they have no stones between their legs. That's why they didn't do it.
James, I realize that you don't understand because you've never been in a position where a professional team wanted you.
Weekday morning 7 to 9. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Take your next adventure in an award-winning Kia from Bill Bird Kia. We invite you to stop by Bill Bird Kia today and test drive a new 2024 Kia. You'll see why everyone is talking about Kia. The 2024 Kia will give you the perfect balance of comfort, safety, and technology. The SUV family has movement that inspires. Drive away today in a new 2024 Kia Soul, Seltos, Sportage, Sorento, or Telluride. Fuel the thrill and command the road in a luxury sedan from Bill Bird Kia. Drive away today in a new 2024 Kia K5. Performance, power, and design built just for you. Discover the new Kia at Bill Bird Kia. Bill Bird Kia, the original home of the 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Stop by 2435 East 15th Street, Panama City, or anytime at BillBirdKiaPanamaCity.com. We'll treat you just like family and give you the peace of mind you can trust. Your local community dealer is Bill Bird Kia.
The 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty is a Bill Bird Kia warranty. See dealer for details.
Your biggest investment is your home. Protect it while also improving its appearance with Earthworks of Northwest Florida. We have sand, mulch, gravel, or lay-down decorative stone, all available for pickup and delivery. Discover your dream landscape with Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Imagine the moment you proudly pull up to your home that you've worked so hard for, enhanced by quality mulch, decorative stones, and more. Let's make it happen today. Request a quote online at earthworkspc.com or swing by the office at 2005 Industrial Drive. Love the land you live on.
You hear it first. Sports talk right now. Back to the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey.
I know it seems a bit overwhelming at first.
Broadcasting from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet, Buick, GMC, and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios.
Something makes me think you'll get used to it.
On ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Sitting inside these beautiful Bill Kramer Chevrolet, Buick GMC, and Kramer Marine and Outdoor Studios. You can check them out at the corner of Frankfurt and 23rd Street. Chris texted me early this morning. They may have some hail discounts going on depending on what all transpired over there by the dealership. Some crazy large hail all across the area. I saw some reports of some massive ones. Just some wild stuff. Again, North Star Church, if you're looking to help out, donate some supplies or help with some manpower, you can visit both North Star Church locations. You were talking, right, earlier in the show about Black Monday. Wasn't a whole lot of craziness going on. Arthur Smith, Ron Rivera, the GM for the Panthers, Bill Belichick still trying to figure out what's going on. But you had mentioned while Doc A was talking, who just got fired? Do you know how to pronounce the name?
I don't.
I didn't think
I don't.
Does the name Mike Vrabel mean anything?
Vrabel.
Yeah.
It didn't, and now it does.
Do you know who he is?
Only because my laptop is showing me that.
Oh, it's amazing how that works, huh?
Yeah.
You pull up the old intranet and you can learn stuff?
But if you would have asked me that, I would have.
Well, when you text me, you said Mike Vrabel got fired. Whoever that is. Right. Well, as David Hayes is donning that beautiful Derrick Henry jersey back there, was the coach of the Tennessee Titans. After 6 seasons there, he finished the 2023 season with a 6-11 record. Although they did knock the Jags out of the playoff race, he went 41-24 in the regular season and 2-3 in the postseason from 2018 to 2021. But then from then on out, he went 13-21 over the last couple seasons and led to his potential departure there. What do you think? Do you think he goes, Bill Belichick goes away from New England, Mike Vrabel takes over as the head coach of the New England Patriots?
A swapperoo.
Well, he played for the Patriots, right?
Ah, okay. There you go.
We're all learning together. Yeah.
My thoughts was that there was, a multi-million-dollar home in Nashville, and there's a for sale sign in the front yard, if you will.
There could be, but
already.
There might be some quick stuff, unless he already knew about it a couple days ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, one of the big things that the Titans we've talked about over the years is their quarterback situation. They had Ryan Tannehill there for a while, but then back-to-back drafted quarterbacks, Malik Willis and then Will Levis this past year. Looks like it may be Will Levis going forward. Don't know what's going to happen to Tannehill, but yeah, Bravel is no longer there. Another head coach to face the wrath of, it's not Black Monday, we'll call it Black Tuesday.
Yeah.
Just the Black Week, right?
Right, yeah.
A lot of different stuff going on. Supposedly, Bill Belichick had a sit-down meeting yesterday with Patriots owner Robert Kraft to discuss the future up there. But you surprised they haven't made a move yet with Belichick?
Yeah, it would be a little. It's interesting. I'm sure we'll find something out by the end of the week. What you think?
Oh, I would assume so. Yeah. Some things are going to have to get in motion. That's for sure. But now too, with Michigan winning the national championship, we talked about it earlier. The potential jump from Harbaugh going back to the NFL. These teams got to figure some stuff out.
Right.
But there's a lot of coaches being requested for interviews. I know the Niners defensive coordinator Steve Wilks has been requested by the Chargers to do an interview. I wish they wouldn't do interviews until after the postseason's over. I get why they don't, but this has happened to us the last 3 years.
What is that? Explain that.
One of our coordinators getting requested to be interviewed for a head coaching job. The Los Angeles Chargers requested our defensive coordinator, Steve Wilks, to be interviewed for the head coaching job of the Chargers.
Gotcha. And that's happening before.
Yeah, last year we lost D'Amico Ryans. He was our defensive coordinator. And then 2 years ago we lost, I don't know if it's Roberto or I think it's Robert Salah. He's the coach of the Jets now. We lost him as well.
Yeah. There should be some rules in place with that, I would think.
Well, you have to request the interview, and then the team has to approve it. But, we got a bye week, so, just go down the road there, down to Los Angeles. It's like 6-7 hours away from Santa Clara.
Yeah.
Interview. What happens, too, because Salah and D'Amico Ryans were both minority coaches, the Niners got a draft pick because of that. So if Steve Wilks were to go get a head coaching job, they'd get another conditional draft pick as well.
Yeah.
There's some incentives, in there, in different rules there with the NFL.
I don't know. It makes you wonder.
Makes you wonder.
If all this is already... Yeah, no kidding.
Is the guitar in the truck?
No.
The week is young.
The week is young. But, all this stuff's been in the play for the last few weeks, I'm sure, right?
Yeah, you know what direction you're going to go once the season ends, typically.
Yeah.
If you're a team looking to make a move.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think the one that holds the cards closest to the chest wins, and I think that's what's happening. Everybody's kind of, itchy trigger finger, if you will.
Ooh.
But yeah.
So itchy trigger finger. So do I take my finger off the trigger to itch it, so then I don't pull it as quick, or do I pull it because it's itchy?
With it.
Just trying to understand that little. What kind of saying is that?
I don't know. I've heard it. You hear it growing up, maybe in the South, or I don't know if it's everywhere. But
I've heard it. I just was really thinking about it literally there, and
itchy trigger. Not being confident in maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. But speaking of trigger fingers, I'm looking forward to one of our new sponsors coming on board here very soon.
Ooh.
Be excited to talk about that one.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, I want to get back to some of these other endorsement deals, Jay. We were talking about that when Doc A was getting on the phone with us. I mentioned Steph Curry. Started in 2013 with Under Armour. It's a lifetime deal expected to exceed $1 billion to the player. But obviously, they're selling, a ton of, all the kids, they all want to be Steph Curry, right? So in your opinion, do you think these investments into these big-time athletes pay off for these companies?
Yeah,
otherwise, why would they do it, right?
Yeah, and look at Steph Curry. He's huge into golf. He's a big advocate of golf. Obviously, if you partner up with, let's say, Jordan Spieth, and that's another one that I think that Under Armour's looked at and said, hey, look, not only can we grab this basketball market, but we can look into golf as well and get a little bit of that market share.
Hunter Mahan was the original OG on Under Armour. You remember Hunter Mahan?
I do remember
that?
Where do you remember where he went to college, or was he a Tech guy, Georgia Tech?
I don't know.
I have to look that up.
You go to Google, you type in, where did Hunter Mahan go to college?
Where did Hunter Mahan
Look at you.
go?
We're growing together.
We are. And do you have, take a guess?
Give me a conference. Do you know what conference that school is?
Well, he's been in 2 colleges.
Okay, where did he finish his college career? Which conference? Do you not know? It's okay if you don't. But it would give me a hint, because right now I got nothing.
Well, Pac-12.
Pac-12? Ooh. Arizona.
Negative.
Arizona State.
Nope.
Am I close?
You're close. You're on the Pacific.
I'm on the Pacific. Stanford.
Nope. You're getting closer.
Cal.
You're super hot.
Super hot. What else is there in the Pac-12? You got Cal. You got USC. No,
there you go.
That's not super close to Stanford or Cal. Los Angeles is pretty far away from San Francisco.
My geographics.
We got you though. He went USC, huh?
USC.
Interesting. Hunter Mahan. But yeah, you remember him? He kind of came on the scene with Under Armour big time back in the late 2000s ish.
Yep. And then he was at Oklahoma State. I got somebody text me saying Oklahoma State.
Ricky, that makes more sense. I don't remember the USC thing. That's for sure. That is for sure. But yeah, Under Armour. And then you got, we already mentioned Steph Curry, Cristiano Ronaldo back in 2003 also signed a deal with Nike, and that deal was expected to exceed $1 billion in his lifetime. Next was Tiger Woods. We already talked about that one. Roger Federer with tennis back in 2018. Uniqlo. You ever heard of that? I haven't. That's the brand. It's probably a tennis brand. $300 million over 10 years. In the twilight of his career, too, back in 2018 is when that wasn't the twilight. He was still winning majors at that point.
Federer.
Yeah, Roger. Yep. And then another soccer player, Lionel Messi, with he's FC Barcelona at the time when the deal was done. And 2006, he signed with Nike. It was a lifetime deal where he gets, Nike. Did I say Nike? I meant to say Adidas. People got to stop texting me. I can't. Usually I can, but I'm bouncing around too much today.
That's good.
But $27 million per year he gets paid just to rep Adidas.
And that's Messi. That's Messi.
Lionel Messi. Yeah, but how many kids? I mean, I see it all the time. There's Messi jerseys everywhere.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Braden, Linda's son, he had a Messi one that he gave to Liam.
Yeah.
Fits him now. I mean, and that was a long time ago.
Well, and it starts with the T-shirt, then it goes to the uniform, the backpack,
and then it's the shoes, right?
The shoes. It just keeps going. It's a trickle down effect.
Yeah. That's what they want to do.
Yeah.
But number 6 is, of course, LeBron James. That was also with Nike back in 2003. Lifetime deal expected to exceed $1 billion. You know what's crazy? A lot of people thought Tiger Woods' deal was a lifetime deal. Do you think it was a lifetime deal and he just decided it was time to move on, or do you think it wasn't actually a lifetime deal?
I don't know. I mean, the Nike logo, when it falls into the 16th hole at Augusta back in 2014, I mean, how memorable is that?
That's one of the most iconic moments in sports.
Yeah, and
probably the most iconic moment in golf.
Right, and I thought Nike and Tiger would go on.
Well, a lot of people thought he had a lifetime deal, and maybe he did. And maybe they just decided, at this time, he's ready to try something else. Move on to something. I'm really anxious to see what happens. But out of these top 6, all of them were lifetime deals, except Roger Federer and Tiger Woods. Maybe it was a lifetime deal. Maybe it wasn't. Obviously, it's ended after 27 years. But you've got 2 basketball players, 2 soccer players, a golfer, and a tennis player. Not one of those names has to do with, what do we talk about? What's the most watched sport in the United States?
NFL.
NFL football. And college football snuck in there for a couple as well. But you don't have a single football player on these huge endorsement deals. Why do you think that is?
I don't know. I mean, it's think about, I guess, as we move on in life, everybody was part of something for 20, 30 years, and now everything's evolving. Every year things are changing. But I say that to say this, though, the Dodgers are putting all their stock in Ohtani, I mean, so
show me the money.
Yeah. And
I think the reason why this list looks like it, obviously, you don't play basketball forever, but, LeBron's been playing since early 2000s, so 20-plus year, maybe 21-year career. Steph Curry's been playing for a long time. Golfers play forever. Tennis players play forever. And then, obviously, soccer players can play for a really, really long time as well.
Yeah.
So that's why I think you see some of these huge endorsement deals, not necessarily with football players. And there's massive endorsement deals with these top 6. 2 of them live in basketball, 2 in soccer, and then golf and tennis.
It's a very risky move to
Yeah.
And Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, all those guys were, rewarded.
Oh, big time.
The manufacturers were rewarded. I remember a kid out of Brunswick, Georgia, Kwame Brown, who was he was going to be the next Shaq.
Yep.
Nobody talks about Kwame Brown anymore, and nobody really knows who he is, I'm sure. But he was the talk of him being the next Shaq. He was 7 foot tall, just a big center guy, and I think he played 1 year in the NBA, and I don't know where.
Well, that's a great point. What you said, it is a gamble. I mean, what if Tiger Woods, something crazy happened, he didn't go on to do what he did? And Nike invested all that money in him. But I do know it is the top of the hour. It's time for us to take our mid-show break and move into the afternoon segment. You are listening to The Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida.
It's the PCB Hobby Takeover with Todd. Mondays at 5:20 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
That is a very high-end card and very rare.
Todd talks about coins, trading cards, collectibles, and the amazing stories behind them.
It was the first one that's ever come through my door.
Plus, we'll be taking your calls and questions at 850-215-6290. The PCB Hobby Takeover.
A platform for you to do your hobby.
Mondays at 5:20 on the Sports Talk Monster. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good morning. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with your weather forecast on this Tuesday. A mixture of light showers and partly cloudy skies this afternoon and evening with a very strong breeze coming out of the west-southwest around 28 miles per hour and temps near 60. We will have mostly clear skies tonight and be cool at 44. And partly sunny tomorrow and a high 54. Mostly clouds Thursday with a temp of 62. This forecast is brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for keeping that dial at ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Everyone makes New Year's resolutions. However, most folks seldom fulfill those resolutions. This new year, one of your number one resolutions should be a visit to That Boot Store. And be sure you follow through or you'll miss out on the tremendous savings on one of the largest selections of Western wear and work clothes in the area. That Boot Store open Tuesday through Thursday, 9 till 5. Friday and Saturday, 9 till 5:30. That Boot Store next to Bill Bird Kia, 15th Street in Panama City. Remember, God is good all the time.
College basketball lives here. WGSX Lynn A, WPLQ Port St. Joe, ESPN Northwest Florida.
PCB Hobby, the beach's premier hobby store for sports cards, comics, coins, and trading card games. PCB Hobby carries the largest selection of boxes and packs from the latest releases of brands like Topps, Panini, Leaf, and more. Looking for a specific player or team? PCB Hobby has a wide assortment of raw and graded cards. They carry parallel rookie, game used, and autographed cards in both modern and vintage. Have a collection you want to sell? We buy, sell, and trade. PCB Hobby on Back Beach Road, just east of Florida Linen. Call 850-320-8388.
Do you suffer from political talk radio fatigue? Tune into the most fun and exciting new radio show on the Gulf Coast. It's The Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey. From the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Rockets in flight. Afternoon delight.
And welcome back. You're listening to The Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Tuesday, January 9th. Happy birthday to my daughter, Ryan. 12 years old. Jam, catching up to you. Catching up to you, and it's terrifying every year that goes on. That is for sure.
The countdown is on to you having a teenager in the house.
I told her this morning, I said, this is your last year of not being a teenager.
Yep.
Even though I feel like the teenage years start at like 9 nowadays.
This is true.
The world everybody's wanting to grow up so fast.
I know.
But you don't realize once you grow up, it's really not as fun as when you're a kid.
It's not.
I can tell you that personally.
Yep.
You can't run as fast. It hurts more when me and David ran some routes on last Thursday with the kids, and man, the next day my hips were killing me. I'm like Shakira, my hips don't lie. That's how I know what I did.
Yeah, definitely don't work the same that it used to.
Yes, yes. But I feel like if you do it more often, maybe it doesn't hurt as much.
Yeah.
Something to be said for that.
Maybe. I don't know.
I don't know either.
Happy birthday, Ryan.
Yes. And yeah, we're going to go do some choppy tonight, and hopefully they have that soda with the marble in it. Kids love that stuff.
What's your go-to in the hibachi world?
Man, usually go with the filet, right? Got to.
Oh, I didn't know that exists in the hibachi world.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. I love their rice, though.
Yes.
Liam's gotten big into hibachi over the last couple of years.
The broccoli. See, I'm not a big broccoli fan, but if you put it in the hibachi,
well, if you put enough sodium and butter on anything, it's gonna taste good. That's for sure. That's pretty much how it all goes down.
Yeah,
that's how I cook in the house. Like, make it taste better, more butter. Right?
But it fills you up, and then all of a sudden, like at midnight, it's all gone. And
the hibachi restaurants are America in a nutshell, right?
Yeah,
you go eat that food as much as you possibly can, because you got to get your money's worth, right? And then you feel terrible for the next 48 hours.
Yes,
That's America in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Unless you're in the, unless you need to carbo load like that, and that's not carbs, but all that good stuff.
Right.
What's your go-to on the old hibachi grill?
It's
I could see you being a hibachi chef, by the way.
Could you really?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I could.
Birdies and beers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hibachi chicken. I just go chicken.
Yeah.
And then I do the brown rice. Is that
fried rice
or fried rice?
Yeah.
I don't want to go just what's the healthy rice? Is that just?
I don't think any of it's healthy.
No.
Yeah. There's white rice, and there's fried rice, and there's brown rice, and there's yellow rice. I cooked some yellow rice last night because Ryan loves it.
The yellow
saffron. I think is the word.
That's always a good go-to. And then chop up some chicken and put it in.
There you go. Drop it right in a pan. You're good to go.
Yes, sir.
Good to go. Ooh, that just made me think. I was telling Liam earlier this morning, I was like, I think you did good in the pick'em. Let's see, because me and David, I think, picked Washington, and you and Liam picked Michigan. Is that correct?
Yep.
All right, I got to scroll down. Yes, Liam was 8 of 10 in this past week. I was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of 10.
Liam was 8 of 10.
8 of 10. Wow. I was 6 of 10. David was 5 of 10. Ooh, so I'm only down by 4 now going into the whatever week this is for us coming up, week 19. A lot of playoff games coming up. I'll throw some other games in there, whatever it may be. And then Jay, you got 3 out of 10.
That's great.
You did so good, 30%.
I'm so happy.
You got the Saints right, the Bills right, and the Michigan Wolverines right.
What hole are we on in the whole football world in golf? If we had to do an analogy about hole 14,
like in our pick'em,
well, just in or just in football.
Is the pick'em ever going to end though? That's the question.
Super Bowl.
No, but what if I pivot to hockey and basketball games?
Yeah, we could keep this going on, couldn't
Absolutely.
we? Yeah, I didn't think about that.
We're going to end it with like 2017 to 2008, and then you'll be down there at 132.
There you go. Yeah, give me a chance. Now, look, if we're going to continue on, I'll start to put a little more homework in this. I thought I might.
We're only 19 weeks into this thing, and you're going to put some more work into it now?
Yeah.
Sorry, 18 weeks. Was 18 or 19? No, that was 19. That was our 19th week picking.
Can we do some golf pick'ems throughout the February, March?
Yeah, if you could figure out how we can do that. I guess
we do it.
You can do matchups, right?
We kind of already do it, though, don't we? With the Masters pick'em and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Keith Fleming.
Yeah, the DFS stuff. But we could take I could do individual matchups, right? Like Scotty Scheffler versus John Rahm's on the LIV Tour now.
Yeah.
I know you're sad about that.
Yeah.
Scotty Scheffler and Victor Hovland. Ludwig Adberg versus, whoever.
That would be cool.
And then, whoever has the lower score gets that pick'em right.
Yeah.
So we could definitely continue into the golf world.
All right.
What tournament's coming up this week?
The
Is it the Sony Open at Wailea Country Club?
Thank you, Ryan.
Yeah, it's got the palm trees that make the W.
Yeah, that's right.
Not on the Big Island, it might be on the Big Island, or is it on Maui?
I don't know.
Kapalua is on which island? Maui, Big Island.
I was going to say Hilo.
You ever been to Hawaii?
Never. I want to though. I want to go.
No venomous snakes.
Yeah, that's bizarre.
Yeah, safe.
Yeah,
from snakes anyway.
So what you looking at? A 4-hour flight over to Los Angeles, and then maybe another 4 over?
You probably got 5 and 5 from
5
here.
and 5?
'Cause you're going against the jet stream.
Yeah, okay.
Now, when you come back, it's a little bit faster.
Okay.
But yeah.
I want to go. Hopefully one day I'll make it over there and check it out. I love watching it on my television.
Yeah,
I can tell you that.
Absolutely.
It's beautiful.
Absolutely. Went there once when I was young, I think 5th or 6th grade, something like that. And me and my dad, he grew up in the South Carolina coast, the Southern California coast. Yep. Went to UC Santa Barbara, big surfer, all that stuff. So he knows how to do all that cool stuff. And we were doing some body surfing on the Big Isle, and the waves were like 9-10 feet. And we'd come back in, and he'd have to hold on to me, otherwise I was gone. I didn't have enough strength to stay up there without it being sucked back.
Gosh,
it was intense. I got rolled back, missed those days.
So how old were you when this was going on?
5th or 6th grade, probably. I try to teach Liam how to body surf around here, but unless you're going out there right now, which is very dangerous, you don't really get a whole lot of waves.
Do you think if you would have stayed in Southern Cal that you would have been a little bit more Louis Spicoli, as far as...
No, I wasn't in Southern California either. I was born in the Bay Area, which is San Francisco, Oakland, that area. Yeah. And then I moved out of there when I was 6, 5, something like that.
When I was with U.S. Kids Golf, I always called the reps, if you will, and I had a guy named Mark Whitner in San Diego, and I would call him at like noon Eastern time, and it'd be about 9 o'clock, and
that's exactly
he would answer the phone, and every time he'd be like, "What's up, dude?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you hanging 10, today?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm just out here just chilling on the beach." I'm like, "Man, you got the life."
That's right.
He's the one that would tell me, he's like, "Man, you got to move out to the West Coast." He goes, ball games start here at 9 a.m., which makes sense. That'd be kind of cool to live out on the West Coast and watch football at 8 o'clock in the morning over there.
Yeah, we East Coast football anyway.
Yeah.
8 o'clock? It'd be 10 o'clock.
Or 10 o'clock.
Well, that's Bill. Bill.
Yeah. That's right, yeah.
Yeah, he was doing it. Central time zone's pretty sweet for sports watching, though, in my opinion.
Bill's got the, hey, what's up, dude?
A little bit. He's from Boston, though.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of Boston in him, too, yeah.
What's that one commercial? Marty from Boston.
That's right.
Is that an insurance commercial, maybe?
Maybe.
I didn't prep a whole lot today with everything going on this morning, so if you can't tell, that's kind of why.
We just roll with it.
Yeah, you do. What do you got? Throw out a topic. We talk NFL stats if you want.
I mean, the Sony Open is this weekend. Got a lot of good players in the field. This is the first real tournament of the season, right? Because, last week was a Tournament of Champions.
Right, it was a signature event.
Event.
High dollar event.
Yeah.
For all the elite-ists on the PGA Tour.
Love the Sony Open because help me here because
Davis
17.
Love?
Yeah.
You said Love, so it just made me think of Davis Love.
17's a par 3, great par 3 it feels like, and then the 18's that dogleg left.
Yeah, I believe so.
Where it's
a fairly easy golf course, isn't it?
Even
though these guys just shot 29 under to win the Century Tournament Champions.
Mm-hmm.
Make it harder. When's the golf ball rollback coming?
That's not. 3 yards?
But for the pros, it's more. When your ball speed's 170 plus, you're going to lose probably 10 to 15.
Right.
But us, the amateurs that don't generate that kind of speed, aren't going to see that big of a difference.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I'm looking forward to Scott. The Phoenix. Is it the Phoenix Open? Is that Scott? The Waste Management
Phoenix Open.
Yeah. Looking forward to that one. That one's always
that'd be a fun little trip to go out there, and I don't know if I could handle all that. Just the partying.
Oh yeah.
Just don't do that anymore.
No.
But it would be a bucket list kind of trip.
I would love to be a spectator.
That was very, very smart by that tournament on what they've built with that. They've built that up to be one of the biggest sporting events in our country as far as what people want to go to, and it's just a regular golf tournament.
It is.
It's wild.
And I remember back when Tiger Woods made that hole-in-one on that par 3, and
no stadium was nothing.
It was nothing.
Didn't even have grandstands on the hole when he did it.
They measured it. It was on the Richter scale. It was a small earthquake. Ooh. Whenever they did. Do you remember them?
Yeah. Well, I bet nowadays they got like 22,000 people surrounding that hole.
Yep.
And it'd be fun just to see.
Oh my gosh.
That was also the tournament too, where all the spectators moved the rock for Tiger.
Yeah. Yeah, that was.
It is a loose impediment,
right?
That rock was big though.
It's huge.
It's the kind of pull you have when you're Tiger.
Right.
You just got people moving rocks for you so you can hit good shots.
He's had a lot of other people do many other things for him as well.
Yeah, interesting. We won't go down that road. Oh, man, Jay Henley. The regular season is over. The 104th of the NFL now behind us. We can look back and look at some of the leaders in some categories, good, bad, and indifferent. Sam Howell and Bryce Young. Quarterback for the Washington Commanders, quarterback for the Carolina Panthers. I say that just so you can have some whoop. That's not like Doc A's phone.
It's my daughter.
Oh, tell her to call 850-215-6290. We'll just hash it out on the air.
I could offer $1 million or do that, and she would. Yeah, really. No, she wouldn't call for whatever it.
No, so if you offered her $1 million to call in, she wouldn't.
Yeah, she wouldn't.
Man,
yeah.
Come on,
I know, right?
It's $1 million. You don't even have to say anything.
Right.
Anyway, quarterback Sam Howell and Bryce Young. Pretty much, how are they still standing at this point? Each of these young signal callers was sacked more than 60 times this season, Jay, making it the first time that more than one quarterback accomplished this feat in the same season in the past 20 years. Howell led the NFL with 65 sacks. Bryce Young with a close second on 62 sacks. That's a lot of sacks.
That is a lot of sacks.
It's a lot of time getting hit.
Yeah.
Whew.
Jeez.
65. You know how many games they play?
18.
17. There is 18 weeks in the season, though, but yes, they get one bye week. So do some math there. What's 65? 17 into 65.
Oh, I'm about.
You got this. You got this. Come on.
Hold on.
Well, 20 into 60 is 3. So
that is being sacked 3.823 times.
Almost 4 sacks per game.
Yep.
The fact that these guys didn't get injured. I know Sam Howell had some injuries, but I don't think Bryce Young ever went out. Be interesting to see how he does if they can get some help for him. They threw him into the fire. That's for sure. Tough team there. Christian McCaffrey, how can he not win Offensive Player of the Year? He led the NFL in rushing. He was the rushing yard leader, even without playing that final game at 1,459. He also led the league in rushing and receiving touchdowns, 21. He was the only player in the NFL to amass more than 2,000 yards from scrimmage this season in 2023. Does he win the Offensive Player of the Year?
CMC?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, you got your T-shirt
Beth
on.
got this me for Christmas.
There you go. Run CMC.
Run CMC.
And I saw where, did she have a shirt on?
Yes. Yeah, she, like
Big
I said,
Nick
Big
Bosa.
Nick energy. Yep, Nick Bosa.
There you go.
When we went to the Jacksonville Jaguars game, we were down there pretty close to the field, and when Nick Bosa comes out, his quads are, she's like, holy crap, that guy is massive. It's Nick Bosa. He was Defensive Player of the Year last year.
Unbelievable.
And I think she's like, I need a Bosa sweatshirt. So we got that little play on words, fun one. But yeah, she's really dove into the Niners. I mean, she really didn't have a choice. We watch that game every Sunday or whatever day they're on, and me and Liam talk Niners football constantly. So
now, has Ryan bought into?
She dips her toes in a little bit.
I got
a little bit. She had a Jimmy G jersey. Now she has a Brock Purdy jersey. She really liked Jimmy G from the aesthetics of Jimmy G.
Okay.
Everybody loved Jimmy G.
Yeah.
Except people that wanted him to win football games.
True.
We won a lot, though, with him. Just didn't ever get it over the hump. Hopefully, this is the year that it is going on. A lot of texts going on. Eric Cole, Rookie of the Year. Is that what Keith said? That's pretty impressive.
Oh, yeah. Eric Cole.
I don't know if that's true or not. But anyway, Lamar Jackson is, in fact, expected to win the MVP. But, Jay, did he lead the league in any major categories?
Who is this again?
Lamar Jackson.
Okay.
He's the heavy favorite to win the MVP. And it goes to show you the MVP maybe isn't a statistical award, right? It's the best player on or the best quarterback on one of the better teams. But yes, he led all quarterbacks in total rushing yards, 821, and rushed for 5.6 yards per attempt. But that's really about it. The stats tell only part of the story for Lamar Jackson. Hall of Fame quarterback Steve Young proclaimed he could be the greatest player in the history of the game. Most agree that Jackson deserves the award after leading the Ravens to an NFL best 13-4 record and a first-round bye. But he only led one statistical category, and that was rush yards by quarterback.
There you go.
There you go.
And he stays pretty healthy, right? I mean, they were talking
this
the
year
other day.
he has, yes,
Yeah.
but that's kind of been one of his hangups the last few years is just being able to be on the field, and that's why prior to the season with his huge contract extension, it took so long to figure it out because the injuries that he dealt with.
And I think if I was an NFL quarterback this year and stayed healthy, I mean, I'd be a top 5 NFL quarterback.
Most likely, given I think there was 60-ish total quarterbacks that played football this season in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
There's only 32 teams, Jay.
Yeah.
Do that math.
Think about Joe Burrow. If he would have been healthy this year, I know it could have, would have, should
buts or candies and nuts.
And I think of Ty and I think of Ed Roach and a couple other guys at Bay Point. They're huge Bengals fans.
A lot of Bengals fans around this
yeah.
neck of the woods. Bengals fans and Ohio State fans. Well, unless you're Jim Brandt. Sorry, Jim, if you're listening. He's a Browns fan.
Okay.
So I think you're either Ohio State Bengals or Ohio State Browns.
Yep.
But, yeah, I mean, think about all these quarterback injuries. It's been crazy. All right, passing yards, Jay. The passing leader for this year is...
Brock.
No.
Lamar Jackson.
No. And we just said that Lamar only led one statistical category, and that was rushing yards per quarterback.
All right, Tua.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, good.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. Those are the 3 quarterback names you know in the NFL.
There you go.
Lamar Jackson, Brock Purdy, and Tua
A, B, or C.
A, B, or C. Yes, he had 4,624 passing yards, edged out Jared Goff, who had 4,575, and then Dak Prescott had a great year as a quarterback, an MVP year, some may say, with 4,516 yards. Those are your top 3 in the league. Passing touchdowns. Who led the league in passing touchdowns? No, it's not Brock Purdy. He is in the top 3, though.
Oh, is it Dak Prescott?
Yes.
Yay.
Dang, man, you're on fire.
Right.
Look at you on this Tuesday.
Yes,
making some stuff happen. Yes, Dak Prescott had 36 touchdown passes, followed by Packers quarterback Jordan Love. Guess who's playing guess who's playing together against each other in the playoffs?
Oh,
Dallas and Green Bay,
yeah.
the top 2 passing leaders this year for quarterbacks. Again, Dak Prescott with 36 passing touchdowns, 4 ahead of Jordan Love, and then Brock Purdy rounding out the top 3 there with 31 total touchdown passes, not playing in that Week 18 game there. Passing yards per game.
Passing yards per
Rookie.
game. Oh, there you C.J. Stroud.
He's been on fire, David. He's got all 3 of these correct. Not in the first guess, but you did get the first guess on passing touchdowns.
There was a wise man once tell me, hang out with other people that are smarter than you and you become smarter.
Well, I don't know about all that, but you can probably hanging out with other people besides the show because I don't think that's the case. But yes, C.J. Stroud led all qualifying quarterbacks who played in at least 9 games with 273.9 passing yards per game, becoming the first rookie in at least 20 years to lead the league in this statistic. Sorry, Panthers fans. Passer rating. Who led passer rating, Jay Henley?
Passer rating.
Here's where it's time.
Well, my question is, when you say passer rating, is that completions?
It's passer rating.
Passer rating.
It's a calculation of many, many things that gives you the passer rating.
The way you're proposing this question to me,
I said, here's the time.
I think it's Brock Purdy.
It is Brock Purdy.
Yep.
113.0 bested Dak Prescott at 105.9, and Kirk Cousins before he got injured at 103.8 in passer rating. This stat was created back in 1971 when NFL Commissioner Pete Rozelle asked the league committee to develop a better method of ranking the league's best quarterbacks. The committee created passer rating, which included 5 variables: pass attempts, completions, passing yards, touchdown passes, and interceptions. There you go, Jay Henley. Aaron Rodgers has the highest career passing rating at 103.6, followed closely by Patrick Mahomes at 103.5 among all qualifying quarterbacks. Total completions, Dak Prescott at 410. Most passing attempts, Sam Howell, 612. Completion percentage ended up going to Joe Burrow's backup, Jake Browning, at 70.4. Your boy Sam Howell, he got sacked the most. He also threw the most interceptions as well, in addition to passing attempts. 21 interceptions Sam Howell threw this year. Yards gained per pass attempt, Brock Purdy at 9.6. Quarterback rating, Brock Purdy at 72.8. We'll go ahead and take our break. Still a lot of stats that I want to quiz you there on, Jay, on the rushing side of things, as well as on the defensive and receiving side of football as well. When we get back, we'll be joined by Brad Law. He's the Director of Broadcast Operations for the Auburn Sports Radio Network. You listen to the Inside Drive. We'll be right back.
104.3 ESPN is above the rim.
Dorsey, splash!
Exciting college basketball is back. Tune in every Saturday for the biggest games in college basketball, plus marquee evening matchups during the week. The Round Ball.
And it goes for the win!
You want it, you need it, and we've got it. College basketball plays here. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with your weather forecast on this Tuesday. A variety of sprinkles and partly cloudy skies the remainder of the day with a very strong breeze out of the west-southwest at 28 miles per hour and temps near 60. We will have mostly clear skies tonight and be cool at 44. And partly sunny tomorrow and a high 54. This forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumberyard in Panama City. Thank you for keeping that dial at ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Hey there, folks. Looking for a place that feels like home right in the heart of Panama City? Well, look no further than Charlie Corm's place at their new location on 15th Street. Charlie Corm's is not just a place, it's an experience. Imagine cozy corners, friendly faces, and the aroma of delicious dishes that'll make your taste buds dance. From sunrise breakfast to late night bites, Charlie Corm's on 15th Street has it all. Charlie Corm's place on 15th Street is now offering exclusive weekday lunch specials. Visit Charlie Corm's place on 15th Street. Look for the giant mural.
Hi folks, it's Tracy with Tracy's Fine Jewelry and Coin and Bullion Reserves. Did you know that we do more than just sell some of the finest jewelry in town? We can engrave on your wedding band, locket, Yeti cup, or almost anything. Need your watch battery changed? We can do that too. Our expert will even evaluate your coin collection. And of course, we always pay top dollar for your old gold and silver jewelry. See, there's a lot more to Tracy's Fine Jewelry than a lot of pretty sparkly things. Come and see us today at Tracy's Fine Jewelry.
We're starting fresh.
Fresh new start.
Locally sourced, Farm to Radio. The Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey is live and local. From the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios. On ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back. You're listening to The Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. It's been a couple weeks. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, whatever it may be since the last time we talked. But now we have on the line the Director of Broadcast Operations for the Auburn Sports Radio Network, and that is Brad Law. Brad, how are you doing today?
Doing well. How are you? How's everybody doing after the weather swept through last night and this morning?
Yeah, kind of a very, very crazy morning here on the east side of Panama City Beach. Hopefully everybody in that wake of that tornado is okay. Haven't heard anything on the people, but there was some substantial damage occurred right there, kind of on the east side of Panama City Beach. But it's a resilient group down here, big sense of community, and I know everybody will be just fine. Everybody always pitches in and helps out. But thank you for asking how everybody's doing.
No, you bet. I know that we had a lot of friends on the coast, and really from the Mississippi Gulf Coast all the way through there to the Panhandle. It's been a rough few hours, so still kind of assessing things, I guess. So we got a little more headed our way later in the week, but that's that always takes precedent, and we know that, and we're reminded of that.
Yep, absolutely. In the wintertime, you got to, and summertime too, but in wintertime, you got to stay weather aware. It's the kind of the tornado season. I know up there where you guys are at, you deal with a lot of that throughout the wintertime, but just stay weather aware. Stuff can always be replaced, but people cannot. But let's jump into those Auburn Tigers. Obviously, the bowl game did not go the way they wanted to, kind of ended Hugh Freeze's first season there, but talk a little bit about some of the big recruiting wins as well as some of the transfer portal pickups recently as the 2023-24 college football season has now come to a close.
Well, yeah, I think it starts with those wide receivers in the class. I mean, Cam Coleman is a difference maker the day he steps on campus by all indications. I mean, one of those, one of the highest ranked recruits that Auburn has ever signed. I say behind him, but that's probably not right. Right alongside him is Perry Thompson.
Yeah.
And Perry Thompson is a guy who, again, another five-star consensus, 6'3", 205. Both those guys, 6'3", Thompson a little thicker at 205 as he comes in. And And then Auburn also added Malcolm Simmons and Bryce Kane, a couple of guys who are not as tall. They're a little smaller and quicker and shiftier, and there's a lot of versatility to the signing class. And so really love that kind of weaponry or explosiveness in the wide receiving core. That's been a position that's been lacking for Auburn at the very top of the SEC for the last, 3 or 4 years. They've only had 2,000-yard receivers in their history. And so to get 4 really, like, the best receiver class in the country is, I think it's something you're going to see immediately pay dividends. And then defensively, they added the number 1 player in North Carolina in Amaris Williams, 6'2", 257 edge rusher. Added Jamonte Waller, who is one of the top players in the state of Mississippi, another edge rusher, 6'2", 225. Added Joseph Phillips, a linebacker who by all indications was headed to Georgia until the staff got in there and started to do work, a real business-like approach, 6'2", 250. DeMarcus Riddick, who was flipped from Georgia to Auburn, another really solid defensive player, 6'2", 216, can play outside linebacker. Even some Carlos Dansby-esque traits as a safety, but I think we'll see him closer to the line of scrimmage. This is just a class that's unlike Auburn has had the last several years, particularly at those 2 positions.
Yeah, good to see from Hughes making those huge areas that obviously the team needs some serious help in.
Hey, Brad, I've got a question coming from an Auburn alum out of Birmingham. What's going on with some of the coordinator changes going on in Auburn?
Yeah, both coordinators will be replaced in this offseason, and I think that, when Hugh Freeze, I think back to a couple of moments. First, when he was hired, and he talked about the list of coordinators that, had already been reaching out and the interest in the job. People sort of expected perhaps young, up-and-coming, big-name coordinators. Instead, what we had last year were 2 veteran coaches who could be handed the reins to their sides of the ball, while the head coach spent a lot of time that maybe would be spent more in the game plans and spent it on recruiting. Not unlike what Kirby Smart did at Georgia and Nick Saban did at Alabama. You've seen some other coaches do this, where they spend a lot of time on that first recruiting class, because with the first class you have to make up a lot of ground. And so the head coach spent his time doing that, gave these veteran coordinators reign over their sides of the ball. And for whatever reason, especially offensively, more offensively than defensively, it just didn't seem to mesh. And I don't have a reason for that. I'm not privy to all the inner workings of practices and meetings and why things didn't work. But we saw offensively Auburn had its most success when the head coach was more involved in the game plan and not so much absent because he was focused on recruiting. Can't deny that the recruiting time, didn't pay off. It did, but certainly. Because your first question was about the recruiting class and not the coordinator. So it was clear that the time spent was justified this year. I think going forward, you'll see guys who are less game plan oriented. Certainly, again, offensively, I think that, because I think the head coach will take more of that on. And you'll see guys who maybe are a little younger, maybe don't have as much experience as coordinators, but they're dynamic on the recruiting trail, and they work well within what Coach Freeze wants to do with the staff. Coach Freeze had not worked with Coach Montgomery or Roberts before, but he trusted their leadership and their presence to kind of get through 1 year. I would describe it like this, and give me a little bit of rope. This is not a literal comparison, but for instance, if you hire a babysitter versus a live-in nanny, one is much more permanent than the other. And I think what you saw in year 0, as the staff likes to define it, is what they needed was that veteran presence in the coordinator roles that going forward they won't need quite as much because the head coach will be a little more involved on the game plan on both sides of the ball.
I like it, yeah. I've got one more question coming on the hardwood, actually. What do you think the ceiling is for this Auburn basketball team this year?
Championships.
Boom.
Plain and simple championships, multiple championships. I like this team's depth more than I liked the last SEC championship team with Walker and Jabari and those guys.
The depth really stands out. Yeah,
I like their depth and their 1 to 10 productivity more than I liked the Final Four team or the year before that when they won the first SEC championship with Coach Pearl. This is just a team that at the point guard spot and the center spot, there's not a lot of fall off when the second team guys come in. There's little, and it's not because the first team guys are performing at an average level. It's because the guys off the bench are outperforming the guys who are starting for the other teams. The productivity doesn't drop off. They just gave Arkansas the worst loss in the history of Bud Walton Arena Saturday. And, tonight they've got a tough game against Texas A&M, top offensive rebounding team in the country, a team that, will be physical. But I thought Auburn answered the physical question against Arkansas. Arkansas tried to bully them around a little bit in the first half. Auburn said, well, we're not going to allow that, and coasted for the last 10 minutes of the game. So I just think when you have that much depth, the pressure's not on 1 or 2 guys to produce every night. They also put healthy pressure on each other. Like if I'm getting 20 minutes a game, I better make the most of my 20 because somebody else is waiting to come in behind me. And that's been a real positive force for this bunch this year.
Yeah, that depth and competition in depth is definitely what breeds success out there on the hardwood. I think, if I'm correct in this, 7 straight wins by 15 or more points.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive stuff.
That's right.
By those Auburn Tigers. Looking good as the SEC schedule did start with that huge win, 83-51 at Arkansas. But coming home to Neville Arena tonight, Texas A&M, that'll be 8 p.m. Central Time. That'll be on ESPN2. And then they got another home game against LSU on the 13th. And then they travel on. I'm going to bounce back to football real quick. I think I read somewhere that it said that Coach Freeze said that Peyton Thorne would be the starter next year. Is that set in stone? Or did you just kind of say that to keep Peyton Thorne around?
Nothing is set in stone in college football.
Yeah, you're right
believe,
about that.
Especially in the world that we're living in today. I said somewhere else recently that as a fan, you got to take this transfer portal, coaching change, off season, the way you would handle a minefield.
Yeah.
Don't walk through it step by step.
Yep.
You're going to get blown up.
Yep.
Fly over it. Wait until the dust settles. Wait until you're over it, see who you've got, and then assess your team. And even what we know right now won't necessarily be the case after spring because then you have your second portal window. Before the bowl game, it was, riding with Peyton. Bowl game didn't go well, so now it's an open competition in the spring. I think Coach Freeze is honest almost to a fault in these press conferences. And so just listen to what he says in his press conferences, and you can run with that. And the last one, he said it'll be a wide-open competition in the spring. So that's where I think it stands right now. And I think you want quarterbacks and every other player on your team. You want guys who want competition.
100%.
You don't want players who are seeking comfort in their position. Those are not the guys that accelerate the culture or drive your culture forward as a program. So I think that's Peyton's not afraid of competition, and I think he would welcome that.
Absolutely. And I asked that question to ask about that Auburn signee, Walker White, who had a very memorable pass to Georgia running back Nathaniel Frazier, again, a signee for Georgia there in the first pass of the All-American Bowl and got some national attention in that one. Is he coming on campus here soon on the fall? When does he arrive?
Yeah, he will be he's going to be on campus soon. He's going to start classes and go through spring. And I don't know what the expectations are for him to contribute this year. I mean, with a true freshman quarterback, you'd love to redshirt him and let him learn and get entrenched in the system. But again, he's a competitor. He's got a lot of physical tools already, and we'll see what direction they go with on the offensive coordinator side. Do they go with a guy who has experience with quarterbacks or with a different position? And again, you kind of have to wait on one domino to drop to know how the whole picture is fully affected. But no, he'll be here and go through spring, and there's a lot of excitement that hasn't waned at all about Walker.
Well, and what a time that you mentioned it earlier in the segment. And again, we're visiting with Brad Law. He's the Director of Broadcast Operations there at the Auburn Sports Radio Network about the best wide receiver class in the country coming to Auburn, something that they've really been lacking. Got to be excited to be a quarterback there on the Auburn campus. But do you think a class like that could attract some more attention from that transfer portal as far as quarterbacks? I don't know how much Hugh Freeze is kind of working that transfer portal when it comes to a quarterback situation. Obviously, you got Peyton Thorne last year.
It's a good question. First, they got to identify whether or not they're going to go after another one, and they haven't to this point. They've not added one to this point. So again, I don't know if you want to wait and see what happens in the spring, if any of the Auburn guys decide to leave, and then as a reaction to that, you have to get somebody else. But yeah, I think the backfield, I think the offensive line. They added an offensive lineman over the last couple of days through the portal. I think the offensive line, the wide receiving class, the running back room, these are all deeper, more talented units than they were 12 months ago. And I think that's attractive, and I think competing in the SEC is attractive. So if they decide that they want to go after really at any position, there are enough pieces at this place that would make that attractive for sure.
And Brad, I guess this will be the first year that perhaps Auburn and Alabama could play the Iron Bowl 2 times. I mean, is that out of the question?
Yeah, it's possible.
Yep.
It is possible. And we're all going to have to struggle hard if that happens, I think. It was already, I'm surprised it took as long for Auburn and Georgia to play twice, to play in the SEC championship. Took all the way to 2017.
Yep.
And it sure didn't take any of the starch out of either of the games, but it was just weird. I didn't like that at all, and I don't think a lot of Auburn fans would like that either. You know what's interesting is in this day and age of the playoff, it's almost more worth it to be the third place team in the SEC because if you're the third place team in the SEC, chances are you got a pretty firm playoff spot, as opposed to a team that's maybe higher up in the standings or rankings. And if you lose the SEC championship game, are you penalized for that? I know it wasn't exactly the question you asked, but it's just one of the many offshoot questions we have with this 12-team playoff coming.
Yeah, interesting. It's going to be a very, very interesting year coming up. That is for sure. Getting back to the hardwood, who do you think in the SEC right now? I know Tennessee's off to a great start, but who do you think is the biggest threat going forward? Obviously, Auburn, jumped from 25 all the way down to 16. But who do you think is the biggest threat in the SEC right now to test Auburn for that SEC championship?
Yeah, I think because Auburn has to go to Tennessee, that may be number one. Tennessee's a veteran team. Tennessee's got a couple of fifth-year guys on their squad, and they're really sound defensively, and they're even better defensively at home than they are on the road. So the fact that we only play those guys once and it's at their place, I think that's a big challenge. That's the biggest challenge on the schedule, in my opinion. I think that Kentucky at home, Kentucky this year is different than Kentucky the last couple of years. This is the recruiting class that Kentucky fans have been pointing to for a couple of years now as the one that could legitimately get them back to that final weekend in the tournament. And, man, they're good. They've got Reeves at 19 points a game. They got 5 guys in double figures, 4 freshmen doing terrific things. And it's not rare for Kentucky to have 5 or 4 freshmen doing great things, but they're putting it together a little quicker. They've scored 80 points in 12 of their 13 games this year. And since they lost to UNC Wilmington, they've averaged 89 points a game. They're also one of the top teams in assists. So it's not just winning one-on-one matchups and scoring a bunch of points. They're playing sound offensive basketball. And so that's going to be that'll be a magical day at Neville Arena when Kentucky comes to town.
That's going to be a hard ticket to come by. I'm sure the students will be lined up for a long time. I mean, the buzz has been wild around the Auburn basketball team ever since Pearls got there, but this has got to be just slightly different feeling with this year and like you said, the depth that they have and the hopefully the momentum they can continue tonight against the big matchup against Texas A&M. Brad, we appreciate your time as always, and we look forward to hopefully talking to you in a couple Tuesdays. And have a great rest of your week. And War Eagle.
You got it, guys. War Eagle, appreciate it, and I hope everyone has a great rest of your day.
We appreciate that. That was Brad Law. He's the Director of Broadcast Operations for the Auburn Sports Radio Network. And I think a lot of those basketball games right here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Looking forward to that one tonight on ESPN2. You're listening Inside Drive. We'll be right back.
ESPN Northwest Florida is already your home for the most live and local sports talk. And now we're taking...
Oh, he got all of that one.
The Inside Drive. Ryan Mulvey, middays, 11 to 1 inside the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios. The latest reactions to the biggest stories happening right now. Plus, interviews, sports betting, and your calls.
You got to be pleased with that.
On ESPN Northwest Florida.
With over 65 years of combined experience, Instant Replay Sports Cards is happy to help you take your collection to the next level. They carry all the new hobby boxes, signed memorabilia, and supplies. New and vintage cards and Pokemon. They sell and trade cards and are always looking to buy. They're an authorized source for Topps, Panini, Upper Deck, and Leaf cards. Instant Replay Sports Cards is open 7 days a week at 752 West 23rd Street, down from Academy Sports. It can always be reached at InstantReplaySportsCards.com.
Sports fans, we love our teams, but let's talk real estate for a moment. Meet Berg Title, your trusted local real estate title and escrow company. Based in downtown Panama City, Berg Title knows the community inside out. They handle everything from title searches to escrow services with expertise. Honest, reliable, and here to make your real estate journey smooth. Remember, it's Berg Title. Call them at 850-250-2900. That's Berg Title, your partner for a worry-free real estate experience in Panama City and Panama City Beach. Attention homeowners, are you dreaming of a backyard oasis? Look no further than S&R Fencing, your go-to destination for quality outdoor transformations. At S&R, they specialize in crafting custom fences, decks, retainer walls, and all exterior construction that not only enhances the beauty of your home, but also stands the test of time. Their experienced team takes pride in delivering top-notch craftsmanship with a personal touch. S&R Fencing, locally owned, licensed, and insured, and a member of the BBB.
Back to the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios.
It's alive! Look alive! We're alive!
On ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Jay, I know you love fantasy football. You participate in it, which is, that's a loose term there.
Participation is a good word.
Participation. As long as you're not getting a trophy, right? You didn't get a trophy.
No.
Miss T was close. She tried to in that Bay Point league.
I would have felt really bad. I mean, trading Derrick Henry for this.
For some guy who's on the practice squad for the Rams.
Yeah, I would have felt really bad.
Yeah, I would have made you feel really bad.
I know you would have. I would have heard it all year on the radio show.
I do have to give Mark Bestito a shout out because he offered up a trade earlier in the year, Devonta Smith for CeeDee Lamb. And I would probably say without CeeDee Lamb, I probably wouldn't have won the championship because the rest of the guys stunk in that week 18, and a lot of people got hurt. But a lot of people are doing this fantasy football playoff edition. Who are some people that, you got the number one, let's say you got one of the top 5 picks, right, in the first round. Who you going with? And why? I'm going to kick it to David after you. Don't worry.
Okay. Top 5.
I had some people ask me this morning. That's why I'm asking you.
Yeah, I mean, Lamar Jackson.
Okay.
Go with him.
And remember, when you're drafting in these things, the Ravens and the Niners have a first-round bye, so you're not going to earn any fantasy points.
That's
in that.
true.
But you also want to load it for, if you're going to win the playoffs, the championship, then, you got to have some preparation for the short future.
I could see how there's some thought into this with that first-round bye.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
Now that you say that, I may back off that Lamar Jackson
Really?
And go Tua. I mean, Tua's playing round 1, right?
You're going to go Tua in Kansas City, where it's 14 degrees.
Yeah,
I'm just playing devil's advocate.
No,
that's all.
yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
You like his chances out there in the Chili Willy?
I do.
Speaking of Hawaii, that's where Tua's from.
Oh yeah, hence the name, I guess.
Yes, Tua Tagovailoa. I'm sure there's a big part of it too.
Right. Who would you go with your number 1?
Oh, I'm glad you asked that.
Yeah.
CMC obviously is one. He's going to get you a ton of production, but you got to wait till the second week of the playoffs. I'm going to throw out Josh Allen out there. And the reason I say that is not going to get a lot of passing yards, but that game up there in Buffalo is going to be a running fest. That's for sure. 30-mile-an-hour winds, 24 degrees. I'm taking Josh Allen because of that running potential, running touchdowns. But another name I would throw out there early on is Pacheco. With the Kansas City. Obviously, they're going to be running a lot of the football as well. It's going to be freezing cold in Kansas City. What about you, David Hayes? You got the first pick in the fantasy football playoff draft. Who are you going with?
Repeat the question for me.
All right, fantasy football playoffs, right? A lot of people are doing these playoff fantasy football leagues now, which I didn't really know was the thing. And I don't know if it's probably been around for a while.
I did it like probably 4 or 5 years ago.
Okay, so it's been around for a while. So you've got, you got the top pick, or you got a pick in the top 5. Who are some of the people you're targeting with that pick? Because it's a little squirrely.
Yeah,
you got the bye weeks, you got some weather, but you got to win. You got to win, but and I don't know how it works. Is it regular fantasy football?
I think
probably
that
depends.
I want to say that it's kind of like a daily fantasy sports setup where you can all pick from the same players. I think that's the type of setup that we had. Like I said, it's been a while since I've played. But if I remember correctly, you picked each week.
Okay.
But if that's not the case, and let's say that's
not the case, for
right?
this,
because it makes it more fun.
yeah.
Because then you've got to go with someone who you believe is going to be playing later, right? Like, you really want someone who's going to make it to the Super Bowl. So with that being said, I mean, I think a great pick is Josh Allen, right? But I've been riding with Baltimore, and who's the only person on the Baltimore Ravens that's consistently going to bring you points? Well, I guess you can add to the mix now Isaiah Likely.
Yeah.
Give me Lamar Jackson. I think just because of his longevity or his potential to make it to the Super Bowl, I would ride with him.
Oh, yeah.
My secondary would either be Brock Purdy or CMC. I mean, CMC did what for fantasy users this year? One championship.
That's it. Except that last week 18, you had to figure it out. But if you dropped Mitchell in there, you were probably fine. He scored 2 touchdowns.
Oh, yeah. Forget about him.
Yeah. I'm glad he didn't get hurt because he's a great number 2.
Mm-hmm. Did it stay true? Because I remember, going into Fantasy League 101 in August, you guys set me down.
You didn't pass that class either, by the way.
No, I didn't. But, you guys set me down, and as teachers, it's like, hey, no chewing bubble gum in class, blah, blah, blah. One of the things
you stuck bubble gum under the desk, didn't you?
Well, one of the things I was told, stay away from the running backs. Was that still legit as we look back on 2023? I don't know. I don't pay attention to it.
What's your take on it?
For the playoff situation thing, I think you've got to, this scenario for this exercise, talking about for fantasy football playoff leagues, I think you have to have, a running back that's going to get some volume and get some touches. Now we go to the draft for next year. I think this year is also proven. I mean, Kyron Williams, Zamir White, who backed up Jonathan Taylor,
Zach Moss.
These guys were not top draft picks, but if you picked them up after injuries, they were just as productive. Kyron Williams was more productive. I don't even know who the Rams starting running back was to start the season. I think running backs are still, you got to be careful with them for future fantasy football drafts. But for the playoff draft, I think you're going to have some kind of workhorse, like a Gus Edwards or even a James Cook. James Cook should get a lot of touches in these cold weather games. What do you think, David?
I think that the advice, as far as where Jay is talking about with Fantasy Football 101, I think that the advice, the trend for this year was pretty sound. I would have liked to hear more of an emphasis on, hey, if you're drafting early, you do need to get one of the stud running backs. Like, go for one of the stud running backs, because there's only 1 through 5, really, of those guys. And then outside of that, it's such a deep drop-off that you don't want to put your emphasis on a running back when you could have a good wide receiver. But as far as for the playoffs go, if you can, again, even here in the playoffs, your options wane as far as consistency goes, right? Because that's what you want in fantasy football, is someone that you can kind of count on, not someone that you can, he might get 20, he might get 2 this week.
Yeah, but other than CMC, who's one of these running backs do you think is going to get a lot of those touches? Pacheco?
I mean, you would hope so. They tend to do that, right? The Chiefs tend to do that whenever it gets to the playoffs, is they start to utilize those backs a little bit more, and Pacheco's been the dog for him this year, so Pacheco's there. I mean, can we ever count out playoff Lenny?
No.
I mean, Leonard Fournette with the Bills over there.
Not at all.
Like James Cook just goes to the wayside, and all of a sudden, Fournette's running all over him.
It's crazy, some of these backs that have kind of had a little resurgence late in the season. But
Joe Mixon.
Yeah.
Well, they're not in the playoffs, so that doesn't count. But still, I mean, down the stretch, he was that,
Yep. Who's, man, where was I going with that one? There's a back that's, do you think Dalvin Cook has any impact on the Ravens with Gus Edwards and all that?
I know he was on the Jets all year, but it's hard to say that you're going to go from not playing at all, essentially.
Yeah, because he hardly got any touches.
Yeah, like why would they? I don't know. I still see, and what have the Ravens been for years now, running back by committee anyway.
Yeah.
So it's like Dalvin Cook may not make a impact where it's noticeable, but as far as the team goes, he can get in and it'd be a 3rd and 5 or something and catches a pass out of the backfield and extends the drive, and that's huge.
Yeah.
So even if you just use him for one play, I mean, I guess it's worth it here in a playoff run.
And your boy Kyren Williams, Jay. Second or third in the league in total rushing yards, and he missed 4, 5, 6 games, something like that. They got a big matchup in that first round against the Detroit Lions. Obviously, it's probably going to be a little shootout, but you got to run the ball too, so I don't know. A lot of options there. Let's get back to some of these, the ending up being the lead leaders. We were, what did we leave off on? Quarterbacks?
Yeah.
All right, rushing touchdowns. You know who led the league in rushing touchdowns? No, it's not Christian McCaffrey.
Rushing touchdowns. Gosh.
Dolphins. You got this.
Tyreek Hill.
No, rushing.
He's a
touchdowns.
yeah.
He does rush for touchdowns, though.
Yeah, he does. I don't know.
Raheem Mostert, 18, led the NFL in rushing touchdowns, but number 2 is a tie. We were talking a little bit about a quarterback to pick up. Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts both had 15 rushing touchdowns apiece.
Wow. And then Josh Allen's got one of the most interceptions. Doesn't he have a lot of interceptions?
He has a lot of interceptions. Jalen Hurts has a lot of interceptions.
Yeah.
So, it's a, take the good with the bad. Derrick Henry led the league in rushing attempts with 280 rushing attempts for a second straight season. Henry's 280 attempts would have ranked 7th last season when he led the league with 349 attempts. He led the league in rushing attempts in 2000 and 2019. Ironically, David Hayes wearing that Derrick Henry jersey today.
But it could be my last off-season being able. I mean, I'll always wear this jersey just because we drafted him. But it could be my last season.
Yeah, could have been his last game was a win with the Titans. Pretty cool there. But and there's a point, Jay. You were talking about drafting running backs, right? Last year, he had 349 rushing attempts. He would have ranked 7th last season with his 280 rushing attempts this year, which led the league, which is going to show you that it's either one of two things. They're not running the ball as much, or you're seeing a lot more running back by committee. I think you're seeing a lot more running backs using the passing game more than they ever used to as well, which is driving down some of that rushing attempts action. Rushing yards, we've already talked about that. That's CMC with 1,459 rushing yards. He outpaced the second closest with Derrick Henry having 1,167, gotten to that second spot after that big game he had against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Kyren Williams, James Cook, and DeAndre Swift rounded out the top 5. Most rushing yards per game. Kyren Williams from the Los Angeles Rams there. Running back fumbles. Austin Eckler had 5, the league leader in running back receptions, and this makes sense. That's Breece Hall with the New York Jets. He had 76 receptions, and Keith always talks about when you're doing daily fantasy, you want a running back that's catching the ball a lot too because you get an additional point per reception. Receiving touchdowns, Mike Evans and Tyreek Hill tied for the NFL lead with 13 apiece. Do you know a piece is one word?
Piece?
A piece.
A piece.
Yeah.
You know what? I may have known that.
Unless this is a typo in this, but I think it's one word.
Huh.
I learned something today.
That is interesting.
I guess if I would have typed it in a Word document or an email, it would have. I don't write a piece very often.
But like a piece of a pie, that's 2 words. That's 2 words.
Yep. Preposition.
Very interesting.
Yeah, a piece is a word. You had 2 questions apiece. Sorry, I got distracted there. I got distracted there. CeeDee Lamb was on their heels with 12. So Evans Hill with 13, CeeDee Lamb with 12, and then rookie tight end Sam Laporta led his position in tight ends with 10. He's got that MCL sprain, going to be out 2 weeks at the minimum. So Detroit will be without the league's leading touchdown scorer from the tight end position, a rookie nonetheless, in Sam Laporta. Tyreek Hill led the league with 1,799 total receiving yards. He was briefly on pace for that 2,000 receiving yards until he had that ankle and foot injury. CeeDee Lamb was close behind with 1,749, and then Puka Nacua, the fifth-round rookie, ranked fourth among all players with 1,486 receiving yards, which broke a 60-year-old rookie record for receiving yards by a rookie. Total receptions, CeeDee Lamb had 135. He paced the league. Hill and Amon-Ra St. Brown tied for second with 119 receptions apiece. The biggest surprise, Jay Henley? Jaguars tight end Evan Ingram ranked fourth among all players with 114 receptions. Yards per, we'll stop on the receptions. Yards per reception, you know who led the league in that one?
I don't.
Nobody would guess this one.
Really?
He played at Georgia.
Had a Zeus?
No. Zeus. Who's Zeus?
Zamir White.
Oh, no. Yards per reception. George Pickens.
Oh, okay.
George Pickens, 18.1. He didn't have a ton of receptions, but when he did, they were typically long. Receiving yards per game, you can guess that one, Jay. 112.4 receiving yards per game. Who was that?
Receiving yards per game.
Got a minute.
Oh, boy.
Just go with your heart.
Diggs.
No. Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek Hill, yeah.
That's why I say go with your heart. You always say Tyreek Hill. Receptions per game, league leader was Keenan Allen with the old San Diego. Los Angeles Chargers over there. Targets, CeeDee Lamb had 181 targets. CeeDee Lamb is probably the most important player for those Dallas Cowboys. Puka Nacua led the league in drops. How about them apples? 13 drops on the year. Also broke that rookie receiving yard record. So imagine he kept 50% of those drops. It'd be even more.
He would.
That's wild. I didn't think that would come up. We appreciate you tuning into the Inside Drive. Again, all our thoughts and prayers with those that were affected by the tornadoes this morning. North Star Church is rounding up some supplies and people to help out with all those in need. Coming up this afternoon is the Afternoon Underdogs. David Hayes and all the guys will be breaking down the national championship. We will be back live tomorrow at 11. Y'all have a great rest of your day.
ESPN Northwest Florida. We're taking the Inside Drive.
Play the dang guitar. Uh-oh. We got it. We've got it happen. Recording.
Birdies and beer.
See, you're depriving us of this.
That's one thing Daddy likes, and that's birdies and beer.
Join Ryan Mulvey.
Thank you very little.
Middays 11 to 1 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna on